is only one perfect solution, but there are clues that will try to trick our team.
Hello there, everyone. My name is Crazy Caleb, and today we're going to be taking a look at Busy Beaver. So this is the way the module looks, and this is actually a boss module that we have to pay attention to. So what we have here is we have a series of ones and zeros, which is going to be called our pointer tape, essentially, or rather just our tape. And we have a little pointer down here at the bottom that represents our pointer and where our position is currently at on the module. So we're going to note down the initial sequence as it says here, initial. So we're going to do 1 1 1 1 0 1 1 0 1 0. All right, and we are currently in the 9th position right here. However, an important thing to note is that this is actually 0 index. So this leftmost one is 0, and the rightmost one is 9 instead of 10. So this also means what we're going to be doing is we're going to be modifying the tape in a series of different ways using different letters. Now, before I get into any deeper into this, there is currently 2 modes of this module. We're currently experiencing normal mode, and we have legacy mode as well. I'm going to cover legacy mode later on because it's a lot more complicated, but it's roughly the same thing as normal mode. There are quite a few big differences that we have to pay attention to. So let's start solving some modules, and let's get right into this. So once we solve our first module, we get 2 letters present that will be moving the pointer and adjusting one of the binary values, whether it be staying the same or not. So for each stage, the first letter in the 2-character display corresponds to the value to make the current digit. So the first one that we're going to be looking at is Charlie, and the second letter in the 2-character display determines which way we're going to be moving, left or right. The order of how this module processes is the following. Read the letter conditions first for the current tape, modify the value on the tape based on the left letter's condition, and then move the pointer right based on the right letter's condition. Tiles are 0 indexed from left to right, but with the first tile having an index of 0, and modulo refers to this little percentage sign refers to modulo operator. So a couple things we need to go over here. We have a series of different meanings here. India refers to the value of the currently selected tile. So the currently selected tile actually right now corresponds to a 1 right here. So that's what that means. The one that it's currently pointing at now, for example, this little white one right here, would correspond to a 0, and so on and so forth. P refers to the currently selected tile's index, or position in this case. That's a really easy way of remembering that one. So the position that it's currently at, remember it's 0 indexed from 0 to 9, so we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it is in the 8th position currently right now. That's where we're at. Next up, T sub x. What this means is that this refers to the value of the text at the index where x is modulo 10. For example, so what this means is it's asking for the value of the tile at a specific position. For example, t to the 9th represents the value of the tile in the 10th position or index 9. So it's specifically asking for a value at a specific position instead of the current position that you're currently at, or a position that's just later on. It's basically combining I and P together, in a way. And lastly, S refers to the stage number when the letters were obtained. So currently right now we're on stage 1, so and normally it refers to a position, so that would mean that we're currently looking right here, but S is simply just referring to the stage number. Remember, everything is 0 indexed on this, you gotta be very careful with that. Alright, so let's actually delve into the module now that we know all of these values and what they mean. We're currently going to be using normal mode for this, and there actually will be a lot of chances in normal mode for there to be duplicate letters. It happens very often, but for legacy mode, that's very rare. So let's take a look here. So if the condition for the first letter returns true, we're going to make the selected digit a 1 or a 0 otherwise. And if for the second condition, if it returns true, we're going to move the pointer to the left. Otherwise, we're going to move the pointer to the right. Now, one of the key things here is that with this module, where is it? It will actually be moving along for the first couple stages with us, and it's a very weird thing for the boss to actually do. And what it happens to do is it happens to actually do the work for us in a way. So as we can see here, the pointer is actually no longer in position 8 on the module. It's actually in position 7. And none of the guys have changed. So what this actually means is that this could potentially be our ending position, where this 1 doesn't change, and we move to the left. So let's actually figure that out. So let's take a look. So so T to the S, which means the position that is the stage number, that value equals 1. So our current stage number is going to be 1, so we're going to do 0, 1. 1 is currently a 1 right now, so that is going to be true. So that means we're going to leave this guy a 1, our current position. And then the same thing also applies here. So we said that this Charlie was true. So now what we're going to do is, since it was true, we're going to move the pointer to the left, which is exactly what it wants us to do. So what this is actually going to do is, for the first couple stages, if you're doing this in normal mode, it's actually going to follow you around for the first couple times, and then it will eventually disappear later on. I'll show you what I mean by that. So we have Hotel Alpha. So Hotel Alpha, Hotel, for the first one, determine whether the tile is going to be true or not. We're going to make it a 1 or 0. So t to the position -1 does not equal t to the position +1. So the values, what this actually means is that the values that are essentially in the one before it and the one after it of our currently selected tile, are they equal? Or they have to be not equal for it to be true. However, our current position is a 7, -1 is going to be 6, +1 is going to be 8. So both of those happen to be true, which makes hotel false. We're gonna make this guy a 0 or leave it because it already is 1. And now we're going to take a look at alpha. Alpha, our value of the currently selected tile, which remember represents India, is currently 0, which that is true. So now what that means is we're going to move this to the left because that is true. And just like that, it happens to be the exact same pointer. All of the digits are the exact same, and it's in the exact same position for the pointer. So that's what we're looking for. All right, next solve. Delta delta. So the value that we're currently at is equal to the same one that is in this position +5. So simply what we can do is we need to check if the position that we're currently at, being 1 right here, is the exact same in the position of t plus 5, in the exact same position as our position +5. So let's start from here. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, looping around, 4, and 5, which it is. This position 1 right here is true, so that is the exact same as the value that we're currently on right now. So that means D is going to become true. This makes this a 1, and since D is actually the right letter here, we're going to simply move 1 to the left. And just like that, it's in the exact same position as we want it to be. It is 5 from the right, and 6 from the left. That's exactly where we want it to be. Let's move on. Now, at some point, I believe it's stage 5 around here, where the actual display that will be helping us along the way will actually disappear, and all people will see is the letters and the stage number that we're currently at. So alpha, if the value that we're currently at right now equals 0, it doesn't. So that means this is going to be false, so we're actually going to make this guy 0. And next up, echo. Now, one of the curious things is that if it happens to reference a tile, that if it happens to represent the tile after you've changed it, like for example this echo, if it happened to represent the tile that you changed, everything happens instantaneously. What this means is that if we happen to change this guy at any time, shape, or form, all of the stuff happens to be changed afterwards. After the stage is done, what I mean by that is, how do I describe it? So, like, for example, you started off with a 1 in this position beforehand. The A changed it to a 0. If there happens to be anything on the right-hand conditions that corresponds to this guy, you would simply use 1 for that value and compare it to anything else. So just be very careful with that, because both of these guys happen at the exact same time, using the exact same number from beforehand, and the stage changes. That's the way that it works. So just be very careful with that. If you happen to get any rules, just remember to use the number that you previously had beforehand, and not the one that you changed it to. If you happen to have the right guy happen to be, how do I describe it? Happen to be different from beforehand. So, so next up, we're going to be taking a look at echo. Echo is the position -1 equals the position +1. So similar to hotel, except it's the exact opposite. It needs to be equal. Does the position -1 and the position +1 equal each other? No, they actually don't. So that means we're going to be heading to the right. And now we are currently in the right position with everything right so far. Now let's solve another one. And just like that, we've entered into stage 5, and now all of these guys have disappeared. So now we're going to be taking a look, and we're going to be on our own. So next up, we have delta here. We have delta equals the current value of the selected tile is equal to the tile value at the position at your current position plus 5. So we're going to add 5 to this position and see if it's the exact same. 1, 2, 3, looping around. 4, 5. It is the exact same value as the one that we're currently on, so we're going to keep this guy a 1. And since this is the exact same letter, we're going to go to the left now. So that was true. Let's continue on. Lima Delta. Okay. So Lima Delta. So the position that is at the stage number is equal to 0. So remember, all of this is 0 indexed. So let's take a look here. So currently we're at stage 6. So let's go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does this position happen to equal 0? No, it does not. It equals a 1. So what this means is we're going to keep the position that we're currently at a 0. Next up for delta, the currently selected value, it's the exact same from the last stage. We're going to take a look at the currently selected value if it's equal to the same position, same value that is equal to the position plus 5. So, is there a 0 at the position plus 5 that we're currently at? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not true because the position plus 5 from where we're currently at right now happens to equal 1. So that means already that we're not going to be that means we're going to be going to the right in this case. Next up, we have alpha alpha. So alpha is asking us if the current value that we're selected right now is a 0. No, in this case, it is not a 0. We're currently selected on a 1. Now, this is exactly what I mean. Is we would change this alpha for this first one that we do to a 0 because that is not true in this case. However, what I mean by this now is we check the second alpha, and this is it would normally say 0 for this stage. However, that change has not happened yet because both of the changes happened at the exact same time. So we're actually still looking at if this position that we're currently at is a 1. So for the alpha here, we would be looking at if the position that we're currently at is still a 1. However, this means that this is going to be false, so we're going to move 1 to the right. So that's what that means. You have to be very careful with that rule, and just make sure that you look out for that. Let's keep going. We got a couple more stages to go through. We have Charlie Alpha. Charlie is the stage positions. The position of the stage number is equal to 1. We're gonna be at stage 8 right now, so that's actually just gonna be 1 from the left here. And just to make sure, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is the 8th position right here, and what this means is that is this equal to 1, which it absolutely is. So that means that this Charlie, the position that we're currently at right now, is going to be equal to a 1 now. So this is true. Now, like before, we're going to be checking if it was based off of the last position. So the last number that we had was a 0, not a 1, and the condition for alpha is true. So because the current value that we were of the selected tile was a 0 beforehand, so that means we're going to be moving to the left in this case because it's true. Next up, India. India is going to be equal to our current selected value, the value of our selected tile, is not equal to the value that is at our current position plus 5. So we're going to add 5 to the current position and see if it's equal to 0 in this case. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. That means this number is going to stay into a 0. Oh, wait, no. Hold on. It's not equal to our same position. So this actually becomes a true. So we're going to do this as India. So now it's 1. And since the first India was true, the second India is also going to be true. So that means we're going to go to the left. And for our final stage, now we're going to submit this into module action. Now, we don't need to keep track of where the actual pointer was. There's no buttons to interact with that at all. All we need to do is simply input the binary of the tape that we had here before. So we're going to do 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, excuse me, then 0, 0, then 1, 1, 1, and then 0. And then hopefully all this should be correct. And just like that, it is. Now, I want to take a look at what legacy mode is. I'm going to do one more example, but I want to explain the differences because there's a series of different options that we have to go through mod settings. And I hope all this makes sense. It's basically just figuring out different values, whether they're equal or not, and applying said rule. If it's true for the first letter, make it 1 or 0, and if it's true for the second, make it left or right. So, looking at busy Beaver mod settings, a couple things that are important here. So we have legacy mode, obviously we want to enable that. However, there's an enforce exhibition mode. So what this actually does, I want to demonstrate this one first, is what this does is this basically makes this guy into a solvable, not a boss. Now let's see what I mean by that. So taking a look at busy Beaver right here.
There is only one
So
perfect solution.
now that we have all of our displays right here, similar to how we had it beforehand, but we have a start button now instead of a initial stage. So we're going to press start, and what this does is this simply gives us all of the stages present, and we can simply move when we want to through each of the stages. That's how exhibition mode works, and once you're all done with that, you can simply submit this into the boss module. That's the way how exhibition mode works. So it makes it into a solvable instead of making it a boss. However, I would advise you not to use that in normal and like mission bombs, perhaps. Again, up to you how you want to do it, but legacy mode is going to be what the true definition of the actual boss is. Normal mode helps you at the beginning to make sure that you're doing things correctly, which is not normal for a boss at all. But legacy mode, let's pop this guy up here. So let's turn off enforce exhibition and let's move over to legacy. So what legacy does now, once the module loads up, legacy immediately actually starts you off with the stage. It doesn't give you an initial stage at all. So what this means is that everything has been set. So we actually don't know what our initial stage is. However, if the initial tape is not shown, the initial tape actually starts with all zeros with the pointer position being at index 0, or the first position in the tape. This also means that the expert will need to use legacy mode if this ever occurs. So this is exactly what that means. Our initial tape is all zeros. We have 10 zeros right here, and the initial pointer is going to be at index 0 or position 1 right here. That's how this module works, and we're going to be using legacy mode for this guy for the entire bomb. Now, obviously, the biggest difference of legacy mode is some of these formulas are very complicated from one another, and it's also the amount of letters given is expanded. This would normally be A through L. However, this is now A through Z, so quite a bit of options we have here. So let's start off with it. So the rules work similar to the original Busy Beaver, where you check the first letter. If it returns true, make it 1 or 0. And if it's the second condition is true, you move it left, otherwise right. So let's begin. So Bravo starts off with the position that we're currently at is less than or equal to 4. That is true because of the fact that we're at position 0 right now, and it's less than or equal to 4. So we're going to mark this with a 1 for Bravo. And now for Tango, the stage number modulo 2 is equal to 1. We're currently at stage 1 right now, so stage number modulo 2 does indeed equal 1. So that's going to be true, so we're going to move you to the left. Remember, this loops around. So we're actually going to be going over to position 9, or position 10, index 9. Let's move on to the next stage. Next up, Bravo uniform. Bravo is if the position that we're currently at is less than or equal to 4. This is not true because we're in index 9 now. So that is not less than or equal to 4. So we're still going to leave that with a 0. And next up, uniform is going to be the stage number plus the position we're currently at plus 1. Modulo this by 2 is equal to 0. Let's pop out our handy dandy calculator here. So we have our stage number is currently 2. The position we're currently at is 9. Remember, all of this is index 0. Everything is going to be index 0. And then plus 1. Moduloing this by 2. Remember, modulo is simply subtracting 2 until it's less than 2. Does indeed give us 0. So that is going to be true, so we're actually going to move you to the left. Next up, uniform Lima. Uniform currently is going to be the same thing we had beforehand. So uniform, so we have 3, which is our stage number. The position we're currently at is 8 plus 1. Modulo this by 2 happens to be the exact same number. It will equal 0 after the modulo 2. So this means that this position is going to be a 1. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at Lima to determine whether they're going to be moving left or right. And here what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 for the stage number. The stage number minus the position we're currently at plus the value of the selected tile plus 1 plus 10 after all that's said and done. We're going to modulo this by 2, and we're going to see if that equals 1. So currently our stage number is 3. Let's actually take care of this first inner parentheses right here. So we have the position that we're currently at, which is 8. We're going to add the value that is of the selected tile right now, which is a 1. We're going to add 1 to that. So now it's going to be 3 minus 10. So 3 minus 10 is negative 7 plus 10 at the end of that. And we're going to modulo this all by 2. So let's see what we have here. So modulo 2. This does indeed equal 1, so this is true. So we're now going to be going left. Oh, no, wait. We changed this from a uniform to this was originally a 0, so this was not a 1 beforehand. This is exactly why this is so important, because what this means now, let's do the whole formula again. So we have 8 plus the original value was 0 plus 1, 3 minus 9 gives us negative 6 plus 10, modulo this by 2 is a 0, so this actually is false. So what this means is we're going to move to the right now. So it's very important that you make sure that you do not forget that rule. You need to use the value that was of the last stage. That's how that works. Because both of these moves, both of these characters happen to be applied instantaneously. They both apply at the exact same time. They look at the exact same tape beforehand, before any modifications were made, and then the modifications were made from there on. All right, let's continue on to the next stage. Delta. Delta is going to be the position plus 1, modulo 2 equals 0. So the position we're currently at is going to be number 9. We're going to add 1 to this. And as you can already tell, moduloing this by 2, this is an even number. Modulo an even number is going to give us 0 in this case. Modulo 2, just to make sure, is going to give us 0. You will only be moduloing 2 in all of these guys. So if you happen to get an even number present, you know it's going to end up as 0. If you happen to get an odd number modulo 2, it's going to equal 1. That's just the way that you can tell that. So this does indeed equal out to be 0. So this is true. So we're going to change you into a 1. Remember that this was a 0 beforehand for any specific rules. However, Bravo is asking us about the position. The position is less than or equal to 4, which it is not in this case. So we're going to be moving to the right now. So we're going to move back over to position 0. And that stage is done. Next up, we have Quebec X-Ray. Quebec is the position plus 1, modulo 2 is equal to 1. Our position is currently 0, plus 1, modulo this by 2 is already equal to 1, so this means that this is true. This guy stays a 1. That was true. So now, determining which way we're going to be moving, we're going to be taking a look at the current value of our selected tile, which is a 1, plus the position being 0, so 1 being our current value, plus 0 as our current position, plus 1 is going to be equal to 2. Modulo this by 2 will give us a 0, so this is not going to be true, so we're going to be moving right in this case. All right, next up, let's get through this backside here. We're going to be taking a look at Mike. Mike is going to be a bit of a complicated formula. So we have the value that is at the specific position is going to be equal to 0. So we have the value that is going to be at the stage number plus the position we're currently at, plus the value of the current tile we're looking at, plus 5 is equal to 0. So let's figure this out. So our stage number is 6. Our current position is a 1. Remember, it's 0 indexed. Our current value is 0. And we're going to be adding 5 to all this. We're gonna modulo you by 10 because that's what it says to do up here. We can it refers to the index x is modulo 10, and we're going to be taking a look at the second position. So counting from 0 index, so we're going to be doing 0, 1, 2. That does indeed equal 0. So this means that this rule is going to be true. So we're going to mark this first position with a 1. All right. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at Oscar. Oscar means the position is greater than or equal to 5. The position we're currently at is not greater than or equal to 5 because we're only at position 1. So we're going to be moving to the right. Continuing on, let's take a look at the next stage. X-ray Bravo. X-ray is going to be referencing the current value that we're currently at right now. So the value of the selected tile, which is a 0. So 0 plus the current position we're at. So that's going to be position 2 plus 1. We're going to modulo this by 2. As you can already tell, this is an odd number, so this is going to equal to 1. And we need to check, is this equal to 1? It is indeed. This is exactly the exact same as the condition that we're going to be looking at here. So we're going to be marking this guy with a 1. Remembering that this was a 0 beforehand. The next up, we're going to be taking a look at Bravo. Bravo happens to do with the position, so we actually don't need this guy. The position we're currently at is less than or equal to 4. 2 is the position we're currently at, so that's going to be true because it is less than or equal to 4. So we're going to be moving to the left now. Next up, Juliette Foxtrot. Juliette is going to be taking a look here. So our stage number is going to be 8. However, we have some stuff in the middle here that we're going to want to do. So we have 1 plus 1. Because the position is we're currently at position 1. We're going to add 1, so it's going to be 2. So 1 plus 1 is going to be 2. The stage number is 8. 8 minus 2 plus the 10. And then we're going to modulo this by 2. Mod 2. It's going to give me 0. It's not equal to 1, which is what the condition wants us to have. So this is going to be marked with a 0. So we're going to mark the position that we're currently at with a 0, remembering that this was a 1 beforehand. Foxtrot is going to be asking us for the value that is at the current position plus 5 is equal to 1. Let's check. So we have the current position that we're at with 1. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The current position plus 5, that value is equal to 0, so it's not equal to 1. So that's false, so we're going to move right. All right, on to the next stage. Juliette Golf. Juliette, we had beforehand, so we're going to be taking a look here. So the stage number we're currently at is going to be 9. However, we need to get rid of this little parentheses in between. Our current value, which we're at 2, our position rather, the position is 2 right now. We're going to add 1 to that, being 3. And then we're going to subtract that from 9. So we're going to subtract 9 minus 3. And then we're going to add 10 to that. Modulo this by 2. It's an even number modulo 2. So that's going to be equal to 0, which will make this rule false. Now we're going to mark this guy with the 0. However, we're going to remember that this was equal to 1 beforehand. Sorry. Words like this kind of, like remember, for example, is a little bit tricky for me to say fast, so that's my bad. So we have golf. Golf is going to be referencing the stage number modulo 2 equals 0. Currently, we're looking at an odd number, so anything modulo 2 as for an odd number will always be equal to 1. So that will mean golf is going to be false because it is not going to be equal to 0. It's going to be equal to 1. So we're going to be taking a look, and we're going to be moving right. For our last stage is Kilo Sierra. Kilo references the value of our selected tile plus the position of our current tile plus 1 modulo 2 is equal to 0. So the value that we're currently at is going to be 0. The value of our selected tile is 0. Our position we're currently at is 3. So 3 plus 1 modulo this by 2 does indeed give us a 0. So we're going to mark this guy with a 1. But remember, this was originally a 0 beforehand, so we're going to mark that with a 0. Next up, Sierra. Sierra is going to be the current position, the value that is at the current position plus 5 is equal to 0. Let's take a look here. So from our current position right now, we need to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is actually equal to 1, so this one actually is false. So we're going to be moving 1 to the right, and that will be it for that stage. We're going to solve our last module here, and it will enter into input mode as we have done before. So now what we're going to do is we're going to submit the initial tape as we've done before. We don't care about the pointer at all for legacy mode or normal mode. So we're going to just submit 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. Once that's all good, we're going to hit submit. And just like that, it's a solved module. Now, if you happen to get something wrong, it would actually mark the, it would use the pointers to mark which stages were wrong. I believe it mentions it right here. Where does it say it? If there are, nope, it's not that. Anyways, I believe it actually marks it as, it's going to mark with the bottom of which ones you had wrong. So, As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.